Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique clash. I mean, and it works. I mean, you got friggin' Stallone and Kurt Russell. I mean, Stallone, like we talked about earlier, plays kind of the clean-cut cop, but kicks ass, and Kurt Russell's more the renegade. And I think it was great casting here. I mean, we talked about Patrick Swayze, but it would have been interesting. But I think Kurt Russell worked out for the best. And this is, I mean, you cap off that year with such a great action flick, and I mean, just a lot of great moments of chemistry and rapport throughout the film with their dialogue. Like we're in the showers, and what does Kurt Russell call Stallone Pee-wee, and Stallone's like, yeah, you don't know shit. You know, Kurt Russell said that to him, but
oh, he's got the gun up to his crotch.
Don't forget the scene in the RV where they said I need a gun, and Tango hands him his smaller gun that he's known for, and Kurt Russell's like, wait a minute, how come yours is bigger than mine? And he says that line from over the top. He said, "Good next, Pee-wee."
And then a lot of the scenes in prison was just funny. I mean, the whole bit where Stallone and was it Ron Howard's brother? What's his name? Clint Howard.
Yeah, Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slinky.
Yeah, he put him in the Slinky, and Kurt Russell's like with his jailmate.
Oh yeah. That crapper is mine. That guy. That crapper is mine.
Like, that is yours.
I love that scene where when they got them, like, they're gonna electrocute them, and they're electrocuting Kurt Russell, and then they bring Sly down, and Sly has this great John Rambo kind of channeling moment where he looks at the guy right in the eye and he's like, "Fuck you," just like in Rambo 2, like the same style of deliverance. You know, like in Rambo 2 when he's like tied up.
Kind of that Rambo expression.
Yeah. And he's got that same look on his face, like if he gets out of these chains, you know.
And the whole back and forth, like Kurt Russell's like, "I'm banging your sister," and
bumping uglies.
Bumping uglies, and when Stallone
that's the other. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said when Stallone walks in and he thinks they're doing it on the couch.
Lois Lane.
Terry Hatcher.
Yeah.
I think we should mention that because that's what even made their chemistry. Because it was kind of like a love triangle, despite the fact that Stallone plays her brother. So it was like a brotherly love triangle in a way because it's kind of like with Lethal Weapon, like Riggs. Murtaugh's daughter had a thing for Riggs, and it's like they might end up getting together. So it kind of has that same. Are they going to end up like being like in-laws or something like that? You know?
It could have been. I mean, around this time, Terry Hatcher was hot. I mean, she was probably in her mid-20s, and she's still hot. I mean,
absolutely.
At this point, she's probably a MILF, but
I wonder if like Erica Durant's channeled that, because in Smallville she plays Lois Lane, right, and she had a big like striptease scene. I wonder if she channeled that from like the Terry Hatcher era.
There's kind of a resemblance there, I think, but I think Terry Hatcher has the upper hand in hotness.
Most definitely.
I mean, shit, I'll bang her too. I mean, damn. But we're getting off topic here, but yeah, I mean, Stallone and Kurt Russell, it was great casting, great chemistry, great rapport, and ultimately worked out.
Yeah, it was definitely a classic there. A classic team up, because it's great to see kind of like Sly playing more of a serious type when he's used to being the renegade, and it's great to see Kurt Russell come in and do what he does best, being that whole side of it, that whole renegade side. That was great.
Of course, the scene. Don't forget the scene in the courtroom, of course.
We got to talk about the courtroom scene. Because Kurt Russell's like, yeah, I wish I could speak as eloquently as Mr. Tango over here, but I can't because this whole thing fucking sucks.
And all the cops are cheering him on, like, yeah, it does fucking suck.
Fucking suck.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man.
Love that.
And the scenes where they're trying to hunt down they hunt down Michael Jeter, his character. Like Stallone was it Stallone that goes in there with the shotgun? Or was it Kurt Russell?
Oh, it's Kurt Russell.
It was Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
I love that action he does where he pumps the shot and then he turns around. He doesn't really turn around, but he just kind of like puts his arm back, blows it, comes back, pumps it again,
Yeah, with one hand.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great shot.
Especially with that music. We got to mention the music, especially with that music. Harold.
I want to talk about the soundtrack, yeah. That's definitely something we'll talk about, but...
I've had that music stuck in my head since you've asked me to do this. So for like the last 5 or 6 days, I've had that. Like the whole thing, like the whole score has just been going.
It's a fun score.
It is.
Yeah, it oh, I love it. For some reason, I think of Demolition Man when I think of it. I don't know why. I guess maybe because of the style of the Demolition Man and the song that Sting did. It kind of sounded almost similar to it. And of course, it was from Harold Friedmeier. Of course, he's mostly known for, of course.
Exactly, yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Axel F.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, I thought it had a lot of like a Beverly Hills Cop theme. Like they even throw in, when they're relating to Tango, one guy calls him like a Beverly Hills something, and then on the newspaper it says like Super Cops. Just little nods to Beverly Hills Cop in there. With the music, especially, kind of took me back there. And like the end, how they have like that shootout with Perret. That reminded me a lot of like the Victor Maitland shootout.
Yeah, it does, because he's a rich guy who has this big mansion and he has these goons coming out from back and forth and everything with the music. That's a good point there.
Like they shoot him in the head.
The climate is similar to Beverly Hills Cop in a way.
Yeah,
definitely. Next question. This film came out in December of '89. Had a budget of $55 million. Made 1,400 screens, grossing $63.4 million domestically, which you consider as a moderate hit for one of the last films released here in the States for that year. Just thoughts on the box office, and should have been a bigger hit.
I believe it should have been bigger, definitely, because after all the years watching it and the Stallone and Kurt Russell, you haven't seen a buddy cop movie like this before. Of course we had Lethal Weapon, but Lethal Weapon didn't go this extreme. Especially with the climax with the RV. It made these guys look like they had a TV show. You can tell. I can see this. Like Tango and Cash, a TV show, I think I definitely agree that this should have been a bigger hit and everything. And I think it should have had even merchandise. Because I remember every time I was little, I was thinking about this movie. I thought about how they're fighting beside each other. I thought of the video game Contra with 2 players and them in the car. They should have had Tango and Cash video game.
Can you imagine like action figures, like the Knight Rider style action figures, like a big truck like that with Tango and Cash
or the A-Team?
Yeah, especially like it should have been bigger when you look at like just the cast alone. You got Kurt Russell and Stallone headlining, and as the big villain, you got Jack Palance, which for the generations before that was like a big name in film. He was like one of the biggest tough guys in film, right? So. It should have had a bigger.
Maybe it's because
it should. Speaking of Jack Palance, he was also in Batman that year, so it was a good run for him. Of course, the year before that, he was the villain in Young Guns. You remember? Get ready for him.
I wonder if it's because like the film was released in December. That's not a great month if you're going to release an action picture.
Yeah, because of Christmas and stuff like that. And it was part of that lineup. I remember they had this special of movies coming out in that time. I remember when I was a kid, they had the special movies coming out in the To the Future 2, and Cash, and I think it was those 3 movies, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to see what came out that year, because, that month. We talked about films that year, but...
it should come out in the summer. Definitely.
Yeah. It probably would have helped. Although I have have to wonder, because Batman pretty much took the box office and overshadowed everything that year. I mean, if you released it in the summer, would have been lost in the shuffle.
It's kind of like that syndrome with Jurassic Park.
They were still doing production. They were still doing production on the film, and the production ended on around October. So I think maybe they wanted it to come out in the summer, but they were still shooting it, and the production ended in October. So I think that's why it didn't reach the summer schedule.
Yeah, it could have been quick editing, but it could have also been like that syndrome, kind of similar to like Jurassic Park, how like Last Action Hero came out roughly the same time, and like Jurassic Park like destroyed Last Action Hero. And I, for one, I'm a big fan of Last Action Hero. I think that's like one of the best Schwarzenegger movies.
Yeah, underrated too.
That's another discussion we should do. Because I just know that movie game shit. I'm tired of that.
Yeah, it kind of is not getting the recognition it should nowadays. But I was looking at the films released in December of '89, but December 1st, Christmas Vacation came out.
Oh.
Oh.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
And then, let's see, December 8th, you had War of the Roses, Michael Douglas.
Wow.
A few days later, Glorywood came out, with Denzel Washington.
That's a classic right there. Classic work.
Yeah, Drive Miss Daisy came out the 15th.
Wow.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, that did big numbers, that one.
Born on the 4th of July came out.
Oh, yeah. Tom Cruise. Yeah, another good one.
Yeah.
Yes, you talk about that month. Christmas Vacation and Driving Miss Daisy, Glory, those are three films. I would say more Glory and Miss Daisy were kind of bigger films, so maybe you can probably blame those, but I know there's a lot of fans out there that probably don't want to hear that. But Tango and Cash, it could have been released in the summer, probably like August, September. December is not a great month, and it made its money back, you can say, because, like I said, it had a budget of $55 million. It grossed $63 million domestically. Again, a moderate hit, and that's it should have been a bigger hit. It should have made more money. And you talk about merchandising. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned, you had a good point that you had two big stars. You had Stallone and Kurt Russell. You can't get no bigger than that during this time.
Yeah.
And for what it did in the box office, it deserved more.
Argumentally, some of the biggest names of those films released at that time.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, argumentally, those are like the three headliners of that movie are like some of the biggest names of all the movies that you guys named in that month for that time in that era. Sly and Kurt and Jack Palance were like pretty high up there on the echelon. So it kind of goes to wonder why.
Yeah, why didn't it do much?
Yeah.
But I believe if it came out during the summer, it would have been a big hit. Of course, it wouldn't have beaten Batman. There's no way, but at least it would have been those movies in the summer that became successful. I know Lethal Weapon 2, of course, came out in the summer. That was a hit. So I believe if Tango and Cash was released around that time, it would have been a big hit. And hell, it would have beaten Lethal Weapon 2. Who knows?
Yeah, big films that year, Lethal Weapon 2 and The Last Crusade. You gotta. But it's unfortunate that this film is kind of put in a bad time slot. Kind of a weird. December is not the greatest month to release an action film, and it should have made more money. Considering what the cast you had, and it's just weird.